All right, here we go. We're going to go back to this graph. So bar graphs and circle graphs, line graphs, circle graphs, they're used in different times. Circle graphs are used when you're comparing part of information to the whole. Bar graphs kind of compares all of the data together. You could have more than 100% for a bar graph, but in a pie graph, if you have one piece of data that's 100%, obviously it's going to take up the whole circle. That doesn't work. If you have a line graph, it's documenting how something changes over time. So those are the different graphs we're going to use. And we're not going to use all of those today, but those are the three main types. So the first thing that we did was we should be going in and basically putting all of this information into Microsoft Excel. So down in the bottom in the dock, notice I just moved my mouse down there and click on the green X for Excel. And I don't care what's new. All right, so blank workbook, and then I'm going to hit create. Going up and down, just like a house has pillars or columns, these are columns. And going side to side, we have rows. So this is cell B3 and D7 and A11. You get the idea. So I'll put my computer down because this is awkward holding it. So I'm going to go ahead and minimize this a little bit so I can see both at the same time. For you, you might want to do this so you can see the video and your Excel at the same time. I'm going to slide this baby over because I don't need all of those cells anyway. And I'm going to pull up the assignment on the other side, maybe. You pile of garbage. I didn't click on you. What are you doing? Goodbye, Apple News. I'm going to minimize this so I can have it on both sides. So I'm supposed to make a chart first. So I'm going to make a chart that's identical to this. So in A1, I'm going to type in students, favorite after school activities. Down below that, I'm going to put activity. Name the activity, the number of students. So I'm going to make this look just like they have it. So I'm going to type all those in. All right, a couple typos. And so I have all those in. So you'll notice that the words run out of space a little bit. I'm going to blow this up so you can see a little bit better. We're going to go ahead and zoom in. So under the view, I'm going to zoom in. Let's make this about 150. Nope, let's make it a little bigger yet, 200. Blow it back out. Okay, so now you can see a little bit. So you see how the words are coming out of the cell. Each one of these rectangles is a cell. So going up between column A and column B, if I put my mouse right in between, I get this little double arrow. Usually it's a down arrow, but when it's between, it goes to double arrow. If I double click on that, it resizes the cell to be big enough to fit the most words that are in any of those cells in that column. So I'm actually going to resize mine manually, though. Instead of double clicking, I'm going to click and go so it goes to visit with friends. So that all fits in. And this one still overlaps, which is a problem. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click cell A1 and drag over to cell B1. So both of those cells are highlighted. See how I can highlight multiple cells if I click and I drag? Go to A1 to B1, and I'm going to two-finger click. So with two fingers, same time, down. And I'm going to go down to format cells most of the way down. If I ever go too fast with this, feel free to pause it, back it up, and play it again. But I'm going to try to go quickly. That way you don't have to wait on me. So I'm going to go to alignment. Up here we have different tabs. I'm going to go to alignment and merge cells. And so that made this one big cell. So there is no A1, there is no B1, or else there's both A1 and B1. It's the same cell. See that? And then I'm going to double click between B1 or between B and C, the columns, so it expanded so number of students fits. So then all I have to do is go through and put my numbers in: 53, 90, nope, not 9, 99, 44, 66, 22, 37. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to outline all of this, because if I went to print this, more than likely, let's check it out. Yeah, I don't know if you can see this very well, but there are no grid lines on this. They're just kind of floating out there. So I want the grid lines on there. So I'm going to click on 37 and drag all the way up to A1 and back under the home ribbon. These are called ribbons up here. I can't see it right now because it's condensed, but if I blow this up by hitting the green button here, I'll see that I have different options for my borders. So I can go to the down arrow right next to that, and I can go to all borders, and now I have a black outline for all of those. So if I went to print now, file print, it's going to show up that I actually have an outline for those. So that's why I'm going to do that, make it look like this. Almost done. A few more things here. Number of students, activity, and students' favorite school after school activities. It's all in bold over here. So I'm going to click and go up. And again, I'm going to blow this back up so you can see it. The B right here is bold. And it's a little bit too big, so I'm going to need to spread that out. Oops. Click and drag so that fits. And then the other thing that you would notice is that this is centered. This is left justified because it's along the left side. This is right in the middle of the cell, so it's called right center justified. Right now, this is actually right justified. My justification is over on this side. Make it left, center, right. I want it to be like that, so I'm going to click at center. And we can do one more thing if you'd like to do this. This is Fancy Watch TB. What is TB? I'm going to click in cell B9 and go up to A1. And I showed you how to get these borders. If we wanted to be super fancy schmancy and make it look just like they have it in like kind of a teal color, right? So if I wanted to, click the down arrow, I could go down to line color and I could make it that teal color or kind of a teal looking color. And then I'm going to go back to all borders again and pow, it's kind of bluish. It's not exactly the same teal. If I really wanted to get technical, we could do this. We could do the down arrow and do line color and then more colors, and then we could get this little dropper so we have the exact same color, chow. And then I click on this and they should all be the exact same. Look at that. Is that not fancy? Amazing. This is the first part of your assignment. So you have now created a chart that should look almost exactly like that. One thing that you may want to check, make sure no words are misspelled. You can do that just by going through, or we can go and we can use the fancy computer tools. And we could go to Tools, Spelling, and it will tell us if I misspelled anything. Yes, I want to check the whole document. You're good to go. Awesome. So this is the first part of the assignment. This is creating a chart. So you'll get a grade on this chart. So you can either hand in this whole Excel file or we could screenshot this. So if I click Shift, Command, and 4, all three buttons at the same time, hold down Shift, hold down Command, hold down 4. I get a crosshairs like this on my mouse. I can click in the bottom corner, click, and drag all the way up to the top, right there, and it's going to go, and I just took a picture. Right down here is the picture. If I want to double click on it, it'll open it. I could hand that in. Usually when it does that, it'll save it to the desktop automatically. So if I minimize, it's saved it as screenshot right there. So I could rename this something like Mr. O chart. The other option would be that you could just hand in your entire Excel file. That would be fine too. So the next thing that it tells me to do is create a chart in Excel with the following data. It's actually the preceding data. Then highlight the data and create a chart that will show the comparison of all the data. So there are actually two charts that could work for this. This compares one piece to the whole for a pie graph. This compares the data to one another. So the one that fits the best is definitely not line graph. There's no change in time. We're not dealing with years here. We're not dealing with months or even a time of the day. And there's no change happening over a period of time. So it's got to be one of the top two. Either one of those could work. the one that works probably the best is this bar graph. So the way I'm going to make this work, and blow this up, is I'm going to click on the 37 or cell B9 and drag up to cell A3. Actually go up to A2. I'm not going to include the title here, just A2. And I'm going to go to Insert. And then my different charts are going to be here under this tiny little button. I have a pie graph here, I have a line graph, and I have a bar graph. Column graph is really the same thing as a bar graph. It's just one goes sideways, one goes up and down. So we're going to do a column graph is what they call it, but it's a bar graph. As long as it's not a stacked graph, you can pick any of these. The way I would know it's a stacked graph is it's going to stack my numbers on top of each other. So let's just do a cluster column, and that looks good. There are a few little things that I don't like about this, and I'm going to show you how we can fancy this up a little bit. So this is what you have to do. According to the directions, it doesn't tell us to do anything more than this. So if you're satisfied with this, you can be done, you can hand it in. If you're a little bit behind, hand it in. We can save this Excel file. To save the file, we go File, Save As. And then sometimes, depending on how you saved it previously, it might say online location. We do not want this. If it says Place, OneDrive Personal, it's going to save this up to the cloud. We want to save this on your computer. So we're going to click on my Mac. Make sure your name is in this somehow. And then I'm going to save it somewhere where I can remember it. So desktop, that's fine. I'm going to go ahead and save this to desktop. And since I have a few files here, it's going to start to get cluttered like my desktop. Don't want it to look like this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use 2 fingers on my desktop, click New Folder, and I'm going to call it this. I'm going to give it a new name. So I'm going to click right here on the text and let go and wait for a second. And then it highlights in blue like that. I'm going to delete and call this Mr. O example folder. Example folder. And then I'm just going to drag my files in there. That way they're all in the same spot. Get out of here, me. Mr. O chart, Mr. O charts, click, drag, put them up there. So now all my files are right here that I'm going to hand in. It'd be a good way to organize it. This is assignment 2, so maybe I want to put A2, and that way these are all going to be organized, and I'm just giving you tons of extra things to do now that you don't have to. Back to work over here. Extra time. You can skip ahead in the video a little bit if you like when I start talking about the next section. Otherwise, this chart goes all the way up to 120, and I don't have any numbers above 100. I don't really like that. So if I want to fix the numbers over here, if yours happens to come out to 120 like mine, I'm just going to double click on the numbers because that's what I want to fix. Since it goes up to 120, I don't like that. I'm going to find where it says 120 over here. This is my maximum. I want to make my maximum 100. And then I'm going to enter, and you notice how it automatically updated. Pretty sweet. I can change other things. It goes up by 10s, 10, 20, 30, 40, which is fine, but I could change it and make my major unit something like 20. See how that changed? A few less numbers there. It's not quite as precise, so I can't tell exactly where the lines go, but it's a little easier to look at this way. So that's kind of a matter of opinion for what you want to do. Otherwise, I think we're going to go ahead and click the X out of that. The only other thing that you may want to consider doing, the lines don't quite match up here. We're going to, if I minimize out of this, I'm guessing it will show up better here. Sometimes it just doesn't fully process. Nope, still not better. There, now it's better. Sometimes you might want to change the color of these bars. So I can do that by, if I want to change the bars, I double click on the bars. That's what I do. And I can fill. Right now I only selected this one. So actually let's back that up. If I click on one bar, I get to change all of them. You see how they're all highlighted? They all have these little circles. Or if I double click just on one individual, now only this one is changed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on all of it, and I can go to Format Data Series, and then it's going to pop up this thing that's over here. So I'm going to go to my fill, and I'm going to go to Vary Colors by Point. So depending on how tall they are, their color is going to change. Okay, kind of cool. That way we have a little variation. So we're going to go to File, Save with this, and then you can just hand this in. That's the second part of the assignment. Here's the first part. Here's the second part. The other way we could do this is we could click on the chart and go to Save Picture As, and we can save it as a picture if you'd like to do it that way. As long as you get it handed in, I don't care. That's the first part of the assignment. I'm going to go ahead and stop this, and we'll do the second part of the assignment in another video. That way, if you are all the way through with this, if you decide not to do the extras, you can jump right ahead. So I'm going to save this, stop the video, and then we'll add in the second part. So